Even and odd functions. Let's start with some definitions. So we have, whoa, calm down, computer. Let's use blue and purple for this one. Even function is defined if it's symmetric across the y-axis. So this example is even. It is symmetric across the y-axis. An odd function is symmetric across the origin. Now, sometimes this can be hard for students to see. If you take this origin point and then take the right side and rotate it around, it's going to meet the left side. Another way I've heard it explained is it's two reflections. So if I take this right side and reflect it across and then reflect it down, it matches the other side. Either way of thinking about it works. Pick whichever one works for you. Either way, that's an odd function. It's rotated around the origin or reflected two ways. Now, we have so that is how you tell even and odd when you're looking at graphs. We also have a way of finding even and odd by looking at equations. So, these aren't going to make a whole lot of sense now. Give me a second. We'll get there. It is symmetric across the y-axis, aka even, if f of negative x equals x. And we'll show you an example of that in just a second. It is symmetric about the origin, or odd, if f of negative x equals negative f of x. And once again, I'll give you an example of that in just a minute. If it doesn't meet either of those requirements, we say it's neither. So let's do an example. Anytime we have this, I want you to do three things. We're going to find f of negative x. We're going to list f of x. And we're going to find negative f of x. Those are the three parts of these equations. Now, f of x is easy. It's just copying down exactly what the equation is. Negative f of x means we're going to put a negative and then a big set of parentheses and do the whole equation. So essentially that negative f of x means you want to distribute a negative into each part of the equation. Now let's come back to this first one, f of negative x. Remember, if it's inside the parentheses, that means we do our big open parentheses and plug whatever is inside here into those big parentheses. And now we simplify. So here I have negative x cubed. So a negative cubed is still negative and x cubed. And then I have 2 times negative x, which is negative 2x. Now here's the key. You are going to take this f of negative x answer and compare it to the two answers over here to see if it's the same. Now, we notice it is not the same as that. Hey, look at there. It is the same as that one. Which means, another way of putting it, that our f of negative x answer was equal to or the same as our negative f of x answer. Look at that. That is the definition of odd. So we can say this one's odd. So let's practice this one more time. I want you to find f of negative x, list what f of x is, and then negative f of x. I'm going to have you pause the video this time, find these 3 different things, and then see which of them, if any, are equal. And then that will tell you if it's even or odd. So we'll come back in just a second, and we'll show you the answers to all 3 of these so that we can compare them. Welcome back. So I've got my 3 answers here. We're going to start with our f of negative x and compare it to our 2 other answers. And we notice very quickly, hey, that is the same as this answer. So we're saying that f of negative x is equal to or the same as f of x. And that is our very definition of even. There we go. Okay, last one, C. I want you to try this one all by yourself. Find all three things, get an answer. So pause the video, do all that, and then come back to see if you did it right. Here we go. So I found f of negative x. That's what I got. I found f of x. Ooh, not that one. F of x, just copied it down. And then I found negative f of x and distributed the negative. Now, when I compared f of negative x to both of these answers, I noticed it is not exactly the same as either of those. This one, this sign is different. And this one, these signs are different. So because it doesn't exactly match, we say it is neither. So that is it, my friends. In the next video, we're going to talk about pieces of our graph, meaning how to find maximums, minimums, increasing, decreasing, all that good stuff.